Like if we need everyone to run a node, understand an XPub, understand the technical side of Bitcoin, be experts in macroeconomics for Bitcoin to win, we're gonna fail. We have people now who are Bitcoiners without knowing.
Yeah.
They're holding Bitcoin in their portfolio and they don't know. And that's a good thing. It just means like our tentacles are everywhere. We're in everything, which is a good thing.
All right,
Brandon.
Peter, thank you for coming to Bitcoin Magazine, our flagship show. We're bringing it back. And, you know, I'm honored to talk to you as really the legend of Bitcoin media in a lot of ways. I mean, you were the face of the Bitcoin conversation.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was always a good thing.
But it was real. I mean, you know, you really guided for a better part of what, five years?
8 years.
8 years?
8 years. 2017 was the first episode.
2017, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when did you go off of what Bitcoin did? That was...
That was, so it's more like 7 years. So it was September 24, I did the first episode of my personal show,
Yeah.
Peter McKormack show. But I'd kind of known for about for a couple of years, I'd known I was done.
Yeah.
But like I really knew I was done a few months beforehand. We ended up moving it forward. I'd said to Danny, we were going to finish in the January, and I was going to start the new show in February. And I pulled it forward. I took a trip out to, I think it was Nashville. I was on the plane. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. So I just got off the plane. Me and Danny went for a beer. I said, I'm done. I'm going to announce it. This is going to be my last trip. And whatever we record, these are the last shows. I think we recorded the final show at Bitcoin Park. And that was it. It was done. It was over. It was like, yeah. It was,
how did it feel? When you wrapped the final recording, how did it feel to kind of not close that chapter, obviously? I mean, you're still a Bitcoiner doing media, you know, interviews and layering in a Bitcoin narrative throughout it. But like, how did it feel to do that transition?
Like mainly relieved because it was, you know, I wanted to do the next thing. Obviously, we'll talk about the football club. That takes up a lot of time. Mainly relieved. But also that kind of like, there was that underlying anxiety is like, is this a bad decision? Am I going to regret this? And you know, the Bitcoin world moves so quick. You can go from being like a central player, doing all these incredible interviews with people, to suddenly, like people just forget you and it moves on and it carries on doing its thing, which is great. But like, would I end up regretting it? And no, I don't regret it. Like Danny's done an incredible job carrying the show on, and the new show's doing really well. I miss it.
Your new show's big, like it's massive, bigger. Right?
Yeah,
bigger than what
now.
Bitcoin did.
Yeah, but I do miss it. Like I was glad to come here and just like see you and see David and like Jack and bump into people, because when you're making a show, it was such a bubble and it was the most incredible life. I was so fortunate just to fall into it. But me and Danny would get on a flight, we would pick a city in the US, Nashville, Austin, whatever, book a nice Airbnb, set up a studio, and for 2 weeks we would hang out with our friends, make 20 shows, go and eat a steak, have a beer, watch football, go home. And then I'd get home and we would publish the shows, I'd get on with life. It was a complete bubble. And then when I ended it, I came out of that bubble and I was like, oh, I actually miss it a bit. I miss seeing my friends. So, yeah.
What aspect of the Bitcoin conversation do you miss the least?
What do I miss the least? Justifying asking difficult questions.
Yeah.
Justifying saying things. Like I think I said some things that people thought were controversial and made them think I'm an idiot, that were really important questions or points. Like when I came out, like I think it was like 4 years into having a show, I said, oh, by the way, I don't run a node. Yeah. I was like, they're fucking losing their shit. I'm like, what do you mean you don't run a node? Like, you have to run a node, you're a Bitcoiner. I was like, yeah, but I don't. I tried, it was too complicated. I didn't know how to validate my transactions. My wallet did it. I'm like, I'm just not doing it. And I always try to put myself in the position of the non-nerd, non-techie, normal person who lives a normal life, who goes to work, is trying to get by and pay for his kids and maybe have a holiday. And my view was, nodes will be run by less than 1% of people, even less than that. So I'm not going to run one because I just don't. Or when I said, what's an XPub? I know what an XPub is.
Oh, the XPub, conversation. But that lasted months.
But it's essentially the same point.
Yeah.
And like, if you're an expert in economics, or if you're a libertarian, or if you're a technical expert, you've got to understand most people aren't. Like, most people don't understand the technical side of Bitcoin, what consensus is, how it works, and they're probably not going to, like, if we need everyone to run a node, understand an XPub, understand the technical side of Bitcoin, be experts in macroeconomics for Bitcoin to win, we're going to fail.
Right.
There's a great book by Steve Krug called Don't Make Me Think. So prior to all this, I was a UX guy. I had an agency and I used to do UX work. And he said, for products to work, they have to work without you thinking. And like, we get into a place where you can use Bitcoin without really thinking. Like, my daughter has a wallet. I can send her Bitcoin. She can send it back. She doesn't have to think about things. She doesn't have to worry about liquidity or opening channels. That's the world we need to be. But at the time when I said those things, like, it upset people. And I used to get called a moron and this and that. I still think I was right.
Yeah. Well, and I think you've seen, especially through this cycle, the UX of Bitcoin has changed a lot, right? I mean, now you have ETFs, you've got treasury companies, you've got, Bitcoin on other chains. Like, what it means for someone to interact with Bitcoin, that line seems to get blurrier and blurrier as time goes on. Maybe that's a good thing,
Well, we have people now who are Bitcoiners without knowing.
Yeah.
They're holding Bitcoin in their portfolio and they don't know.
Pension funds?
Pension funds, yeah.
Yeah.
People who've got index funds, people who've got index trackers, which may have an equity that's got Bitcoin, like, they don't know. And that's a good thing. It just means, like, our tentacles are everywhere. We're in everything, which is a good thing.
And including our tentacles are into mainstream media now.
Mainstream media, politics. I mean, we're everywhere now.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, I went to the SF conference. Was that 2019?
2019, yeah.
2019. Great conference. What, probably a third of the people that are here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was small, but it was punk rock. It was like, we're going to take on the world. But we were a group of nerds in our own little place.
Yeah.
We're now part of everything. There are Bitcoiners everywhere, and that's a good thing.
I agree wholeheartedly. And in fact, my thesis around Bitcoin's success has always been, Bitcoin will have succeeded when Bitcoiners aren't working on Bitcoin. And I think what I love about your story is, like, that is your story in a way, right? It's like, as you have continued to succeed, you take your Bitcoin mindset and you apply it to the world around you, right? It makes me really passionate about it because, like, I want to see more people following your path, to be honest. I want to see more people applying that same logic.
Well, it's what we were meant to do, right?
Yeah.
When they kept calling me a status cuck and because I was, like, defending government, I was like, well, what am I meant to be? It's like, we're meant to get rich and fight the man. So I was like, okay. And so that's what I'm doing now. And sometimes I feel like I'm on my own.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are the rest of the Bitcoiners? Like, I get it. Some want to go and live in a tax-free jurisdiction in the Middle East and just, like, hide away and live off their money. That's cool. But we were meant to go fight the man. Like, okay, let's go fight the man. Let's all be part of the man.
We're meant to build the new world around us.
Yeah. And but that was why the reason to flip the podcast, right? We made 860 episodes about Bitcoin, and I loved it. I loved doing it. But in the end, it's Bitcoiners talking to Bitcoiners about Bitcoin, so other Bitcoiners can listen, and occasionally a few new people come in. It's like, we need to go to the next step.
I agree.
If we're integrating Bitcoin into financial products, if we're integrating it into the media, like, my show needs to be a show that has normal conversations and Bitcoin comes up. So it happened this week. I had a conversation with a guy called Shankar Singham, who is, he runs a think tank called the Growth Commission. And they're talking about what's happening with tariffs, talking about the rise of socialism, talking about fiat debasement. And naturally at one point, Bitcoin comes up. I can make 4 more shows and it doesn't come up. But it does come up regularly. And that what I'm doing is all those people who go, oh, I don't want to listen to a Bitcoin show. But then they go, oh, I want to listen to an interview with Liz Truss. And they hear Liz Truss go, well, I support Bitcoin. I support anything that takes power away from the state. You're seeing a former prime minister talk to a Bitcoiner on a general show about taking control away from the state, why you don't want to give the state too much power, and Bitcoin is a tool. And, like, how many non-Bitcoiners hear that and go, oh. It's a bit like Joe Rogan, right? I religiously listened to Joe Rogan. I eventually bought a Traeger grill. Like, after 2 years of him going about Traeger grills, I bought a Traeger grill. By osmosis, I learned about Traeger grills. I'm like, yeah, I want to smoke my meat on wood pellets, so I got one. This will be the same over and over. They keep, like, I see it in the comments, like, why do you keep talking about Bitcoin? Why do you keep talking about a Ponzi scheme? It's boiling the oceans. But now I'm seeing more go, that stuff they're talking about, the money not working is true. And people Bitcoin, and he seems to be doing okay. Maybe I need some of that Bitcoin. And so the questions are coming in. It's like, how do I get Bitcoin? Where do I learn about Bitcoin? I'm like, go back to episode 1, and then before then, that's the event horizon. Go before then and get sucked into the Bitcoin world.
Yeah, no, that's great. You know, we do the same thing too with like our conferences, right? Every year we try to bring in people that are not Bitcoiners or like you wouldn't really associate with Bitcoin. We want them to come speak, obviously, you know, about Bitcoin, but there's a broader conversation to be had there. And not only do we gain their audience, but sometimes we change their mind. You know, sometimes we get them one step further along themselves. And that's a good thing. You know, like we want to expand out and move the industry forward. So I think, you know, to bring that same lens back then, let's take a step back and go to, when did you decide to buy Real Bedford? And
yeah, good question.
How did that go down? Like what was the conversation? What was the thing that was happening behind closed doors where you were like, all right, I'm doing this, Cameron, Tyler, what happened?
So it goes back actually to the 2021 bull market era. My local football team had never been in the football league. So people don't understand, British football, there are 4 professional leagues: the Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, and then there's what we call non-league. Okay, we'd never had a team in the professional leagues. And I was looking at that going, oh, why has that not happened? And looked into buying the team, and then like didn't, and it fell apart. And then we went into a bear market, so like it wasn't really the time. Sorry, that was like 2019. We were doing bear market. And then I looked back again in 2021 when we were bull market, and I'd met up with Cameron and Tyler. We'd gone for a beer. I think we were in Austin. And it was like, they were sponsoring the podcast. And so I had to meet them about that and say, look, can we renew the sponsorship deal? They're like, yeah. And I was like, I've got this other idea. I said, I want to take a team from the bottom of the English pyramid to the top. And I think we can do it with Bitcoin. This is how. No, it wasn't even that, actually. I said, I think I want to take them into the football league. And I can't remember if it was Cameron or Tyler. You know, it's like, you would just mix them up. But like,
yeah.
Say it was Cameron. He went, what's the football league? I said, it's the professional divisions. Prem, Championship, League 1, League 2. And this is why they're fucking geniuses, because, excuse my language. But he went, how'd you get in the Premier League? It's like, okay, let me think about that and I'll come back to you. But like, those are guys who shoot, I mean, they invented Facebook. Let's be honest, they invented Facebook, right. Mark Zuckerberg stole it, right? Then they went and got Bitcoin and they became like the biggest holders of Bitcoin. And then when they create Gemini, they want to create the biggest, like They think big. They think big, and they think you can go for number 1. And I get the mindset. You might as well shoot for the top and fail, than shoot for the middle and fail. If you shoot for the top and fail, you're near the top, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they bought into the idea. So I went and approached the local team, offered to buy them. They said yes. And that was 2001. We had our first proper season was 22-23. So it goes over years. And we're in the 10th tier. And we've won the league every year.
You've won every year.
Every year.
You've been promoted every year.
Every year. And so we're in the 7th tier now. We're 3rd in the league. If we win the league this year, we will be the first team in the history of English football to win 4 in a row. It's never been done. We'll be the first. It'll be hard. I don't think we're going to do it, but I want us to badly.
How much of that, like, okay, obviously Bitcoin is very much embedded in the threads of the team.
Yeah.
How much of the success of the team do you put towards like operating on a Bitcoin standard, having the support of the Bitcoin community, like all of that? How much of it is just like, you guys are just good at football?
No. This doesn't happen without Bitcoin, right? But it's not, like, I would say 20% of the story and the success is being on a Bitcoin standard and holding Bitcoin. 80% is being part of the Bitcoin community. There's a dude down there in a Real Bedford hoodie, right? I saw a lady in a t-shirt. So when I looked at it, it's like, how do you take a team from the bottom to the top? You have to have competitive wages for players and manager. It's not all of it. I'd say 70% is your player budget, 20% is your manager, 10% is luck, right? And you know, those things change. But if you have no budget and the best manager, you're not getting promoted. Because your players, you cannot get the players. And if you have the best team and a terrible manager, you might go up, but you might screw it up. You've got to have the right mix. You don't have to have the best budget, but you have to have a competitive budget. I was like, right, well, if you need a competitive budget, how do football clubs make their money? They sell tickets, burgers, and sponsorship. How do we absolutely smash it out of the park? We convince the Bitcoin community, this is your team. Real Bedford is the Bitcoin club. I know there are others. but we are the Bitcoin club.
Well, it feels like you're the Bitcoin club.
And always and everywhere will be, because we were the first. We had the leverage of my podcast, so I could talk about it. And then I went out to the sponsors. I was like, sponsor this club, sponsor the shirt. And then went out to the Bitcoiners and said, sponsor the team, support the team. They bought the merchandise. That gave us the revenue to be able to compete in the market and get the better players. But now we're even a bigger stage. Now we need like stadium, training, like big capital projects that are going to cost tens of millions. How do you solve that? Well, ideally, you have business partners who are billionaires who understand capital, how to raise capital, how to manage capital. So 80% of it is being part of the Bitcoin community. And look, you know, when I did the deal with Cameron Thailand, it was $4.5 million. It was the largest ever investment in a London football club. We stuck it all into Bitcoin at 70K, and it went up 126K. So there was a time that 4.5 million became nearly like 8 million.
Yeah,
and
wow.
you know, we've had to sell some here and borrow against some to fund what we do, and that's helped us. But absolutely, being part of the Bitcoin community was the most important thing.
Well, and there's like a reflexivity to that, right?
Yeah.
Like as the team continues to succeed, football fans are like, who is this team? Like, why are they just blowing right past us through the leagues? Like, who are these people? Why are they operating on Bitcoin? It tells the story, right? And I think like as a Bitcoiner watching this team succeed, it's like watching Bitcoin sort of help propel the narrative forward, right? It's like, it's this cool,
it's a parallel
Trojan horse.
It's the parallel to Bitcoin. It's the parallel to a podcast, right?
Yeah.
It is something which it's like throw an accelerant on it.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is an accelerant on what it is. And it's so funny. I mean, all these other clubs are going to go, oh, it's just because they got money and what's this stupid Bitcoin thing? It's like, well, it's clearly working.
Yeah.
You know, we're beating you. We're flying through the leagues. I told them how we did it. I wrote a presentation. I said, this is how I'm going to take this team to the Premier League. Step by step. I told them the exact playbook. And obviously I got laughed at. Like,
Yeah.
We had 40 fans come into games when I did it. They're like laughing at me. And now they're like, well, maybe not laughing so much. But none of them are adopting the strategy. Yeah, other people get in touch. They're like, I'm going to launch the Bitcoin basketball team. I'm going to launch the Bitcoin football team in Hawaii. How do you do it? And I'll tell them the playbook. But we definitely had a unique set of circumstances.
The media apparatus is strong.
Dude, having the Bitcoin podcast was helpful.
Yeah.
Having a friendship with Tyler and Camera was helpful. Being the first was helpful. And also, like, I bought the team in my hometown, so I really give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm like there, I'm embedded. So it was like a lucky, unique set of circumstances that made it all happen at the right time.
Well, so on that last note of like, you know, it's your hometown team looking to the future, right? You kind of own this piece of sort of your community. You're talking about like the real world issues, especially as it relates to Bedford, but as it relates to England and as it relates to all of humanity. You're already getting in spats with, you know, the mayor of Bedford.
No, we're friends now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
we
good.
made up.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Like, what do you have an end game in mind as you're sort of building towards this external facing apparatus?
No end game. I think quite short term. Look, Bitcoin gives you optionality, right? If you've been in long enough and you've stacked and you've looked after yourself, you've got optionality. Right now, it's like my goal is, can we win the league this year?
Yeah.
When can we get a stadium? The only long-term thoughts I have are just for my kids. Like, to build that podcast, they made a lot of sacrifices. Their dad was away a lot. But now, like, I work with my son. He's like, you've met him. He's my shadow. He's there with me. He runs everything with me. But it's like, I'm prepping them for the world where dad steps back. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. It's like, if there comes a day, whether it's in a year, 10 years, or 30 years, I'm going to step back. Are they ready to take over? But having Bitcoin gives you, like, Jameson Lopp said it. What's the point of having fuck you money if you don't say fuck you occasionally? And there are versions of fuck you. Like, it doesn't literally mean you have to just go up to something, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
But stopping the Bitcoin podcast was a fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't a fuck you to the Bitcoiners. It was a fuck you to that lifestyle. Like, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to be away every 6 weeks.
To the capture of it.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what's the most important thing I can be doing right now for me, my family, and my community? And that's what I'm doing. But it's a long way out, 10 years. I just, I'm thinking short term now, what can I do for my family, my local community, and my country? And that's where my headspace is.
Yeah. Well, and I love the mindset of building it for your kids. I think that that's also very engendered in sort of the Bitcoin conversation is we're really, what's the saying? Like society succeeds when children stand under the trees planted by their parents, right?
There's a really, I'm 47 now, so like you start to think about this stuff a lot. And what I've said to my son, not my daughter yet, is like, there comes a day when your dad's not here. And you've got two inheritances. It's like corporate inheritances and financial inheritances. And your job, or my job, is to prepare you for a world where when you're leaving things with your kids, that pie is bigger and they know what to do. And so it's like we're trying to reverse that generational decay we've had by relying on the state for everything, all this left-wing activism in the schooling system where we're making every kid feel like they have to be special and they're a victim. And we're not really teaching them to be strong, resilient people. We can do that at home. We as Bitcoiners know what that means. And so my job now is to prepare my kids, and hopefully they have children young enough so I can observe them raising their kids and maybe help them prepare like for generations ahead. Because there's that saying, like, I can't remember the percentage, but say it's a third. A third of all generational wealth is lost in 3 generations. So you've got to plant the seeds for them to be responsible for what you're passing on. And I think about that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so to sort of bring it on this note, talking about leaving it for your kids, what sort of legacy do you want Peter McKormack to have, both in the Bitcoin space, but in the world around you? Like I always think about, like, we build Bitcoin for the future. We build it for people we'll never meet, right? What is that legacy that you'd want to leave? And how do you want your sort of arc in this space to be thought of?
I don't think about it. Honestly, if I say I don't care, does that mean I'm making the right decision? Like, all I care about is, do I make good decisions? Like, I didn't ask to be this guy. Like, I just one day said, I'm going to set up a podcast. And my buddy who had a podcast said, well, what subject? I was like, I don't know, I'm buying Bitcoin, I'll do that. I didn't set out with this goal to create the biggest show. I just went around and interviewed people, and for some reason it resonated and it worked. And that was cool. But like, I'm happy Danny's now. I'm happy for it to be him. I don't care what people think of me anymore. Like, if Danny can do a better show and people forget about me, that's absolutely fine. If you were to push me for an answer, I care more about collective legacy of the Bitcoin community.
Yeah.
Like, are we as a community, are we looking after this gift we got from Satoshi in the right way? And are we fostering the world that we think is the right world? And I think we are. So I think about, like, maybe there's like a collective legacy in that we made the world a better place. I mean, I'll be dead. I mean, I don't know if we get to see our legacy from the next life or not. So legacy is a weird thing, because it's like, you don't want ego in legacy. I think if you have ego in your legacy, like, do you want a statue? Do you want people to talk about you? He did an amazing job. Or should your legacy be really just, did you leave the world a better place? I hope, I think I've contributed, like you have, like everyone here, the world to be in a better place. Can we keep doing that?
Yeah.
That's a really convoluted, nothing answer.
No, I mean, but I think you hit on something really important there. And we will each leave our legacy. I think everyone wants to leave their legacy in Bitcoin, right? I think everyone wants to feel like they did something to move Bitcoin forward.
Do you know what? If they remember one thing, is that I fucking took on Craig Wright.
Yeah.
Nearly lost everything.
Oh, yeah.
And beat that motherfucker. And look, loads of people played their part. Thank you, Jack Dorsey, and everything they did. But, I was up against it at one point with that. I was up on the ropes. I was about to be made bankrupt, lose everything. And I just said, no, fuck you. And we got rid of him. And like, how quickly has it gone from that? Nobody really talks about him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's just gone.
He's just gone.
It's just gone.
Now we talk about knots, which maybe has nothing to do with it. Maybe it has something to do with it. I don't know.
Man, that whole conversation.
Yeah.
I put out a really trolly tweet with that. I was like, you'll appreciate this from what we spoke about earlier, but I said, not to be cool, I don't care, I don't run a node anyway.
Bringing it back full circle.
People were losing their shit. I was just like,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Peter, first of all, thank you for everything that you've done for the Bitcoin community, everything you continue to do.
Thank you.
I think that you continue to be one of the most interesting, exciting stories, paths that we've seen in Bitcoin and in the world. And thank you for coming, and it's an honor to have you.
And I'm glad you're my friend, Brandon. I should come and see you again soon.
Yes, come to Puerto Rico.
I'll come to Puerto Rico. I'll come to more than one night next time.
Yes, absolutely.
And thanks for this, by the way. I mean, watching this grow from what it was in San Francisco to what it is now, it's incredible.
It's been a tremendous ride.
Yeah.
Tremendous ride. More to come.
More to come.